Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Noel, the Red Devil. We are here to talk about Erik Ten Hag's press conference. Plus, Harry Maguire's Mammy comes out and defends him, and Jadon Sancho is still crying like a little baby. But let's get into Erik Ten Hag's press conference, which was short and sweet. Um, he talked about the performance against Arsenal, when asked about Jadon Sancho, at first he kind of ignored the question, but he said the team performance was good against Arsenal. He said they should have at least gone away with a point, but they should have won the game. But he said that the players again stepped up. He said there's a good mood in the camp, and then Simon Stone asked, "Well, how could there be a good mood in the camp when there are issues in the team at the moment?" And he basically said, well, the squad of players that he has that are available are all in great form, great mood. There's a good mood in the squad. Um, he didn't say much on the Jadon Sancho stuff except to say that everything that has been said. Um, but then a little later on in the press conference, he talked about standards and the fact that there was no standards or culture at the club, and that's why the owners asked him to come in to set those standards, and he has set the standards. So a defiant manager, not getting involved in the circus around Jadon Sancho, basically just said what he needed to say, and we moved on. Varane will not be available, and no Mount available, but apparently they are very close. Nothing on Amrabat in the interview or the press conference I saw. So a lot of fans are speculating, will we see Amrabat tomorrow? We will just have to wait and see. They did speak about the Harry Maguire abuse, and all the manager said is that he's had a great career and that the abuse is not acceptable. And he has said that, but he also said, a way for Harry Maguire to kind of shut up the criticism was to perform on the pitch. So again, in a way, the manager is saying, yeah, the criticism is bad, but if Harry wants it to go away, perform on the pitch. He asked how it was affecting Harry around the squad. He said, "No, Harry is it hasn't affected him. He's getting down and doing what he needs to do." And I will go in more about Harry Maguire and his Mammy after I speak about the Erik Ten Hag stuff, and also we'll talk a little bit about the Jadon Sancho stuff, because since the last time we were on, there's obviously been developments. So he said he doesn't deserve it. He's had a great career, but he must give performances on the pitch. Everyone has a role at the team, but he was asked by a judge, "You're seen as a bit of a father figure," and he says, "Well, there's the team," and he did say if staff and players didn't reach a certain standard, you know, so he has set the tone. He's basically laid down the law and said to any other staff member or players out there that don't reach his standards, that he's gone. Now, I will get into the Jadon Sancho stuff in a minute, because a lot of people have used this situation to ask for Erik Ten Hag to go, and I will get into that in a minute. But he said there was no culture, there were no standards at the club before he came in, and he set the ground rules. And basically, if nobody abides by those ground rules, well, he's the boss, basically. He was asked about the game against Brighton. He says, "We love to play against Brighton. We have to be at our best." The games against Brighton have been really entertaining games, and they've caused us problems. So yeah, he's looking forward to the Brighton game. He has said that, he was asked about the progression of the team. He says, we have made. It's clear to see that we have progressed, but it's clear that this manager is not happy and wants it to continue and wants this team to be consistent, because even after the Arsenal game, he spoke about there in the interview and says, well, we should have actually come away from the win, but basically, you know, the least we deserved was a point from the game. So again, elite mentality from this manager. And then lastly, as I said, this wasn't a long press conference at all. Lastly, he was asked about, have you spoken to Anthony? And he said, yes, I've spoken to Anthony, because he was asked by a journalist how Anthony is doing. And he says, yeah, he's okay, as well as you'd expect someone to be after being accused of what Anthony has been accused of. And if you look at all the stuff that's been released lately, it looks highly likely that this guy is an innocent man. But as I said, we will wait until due process is actually done. But that was the end of the Ten Hag press conference. There was nothing of note. Even the bit that was embargoed at the start was a couple of minutes, and then the rest of the interview wasn't much. But he has laid down the law. He's basically said that these players and staff don't reach his standards. Well, they've crossed the line. Now let's get into the Harry Maguire and the Jadon Sancho stuff. We'll start with Jadon Sancho first, because it's kind of connected to what he said during the press conference. But we've got fans out there, believe it or not, asking for the manager to be sacked, because apparently he was ruthless with Cristiano Ronaldo, he was ruthless with David De Gea, but he hasn't been ruthless with Harry Maguire or Jadon Sancho. Well, Jadon Sancho is no longer training with the team and has been sent away on a training program. Now, last year, he went missing for 3 months. You remember, we were all told that was mental health issues. Well, I'm starting to believe that Jadon Sancho was punished last year as well. And that's what that was, because remember, the same thing happened as well. He was sent on a training camp. So I believed he was already punished last year. And I think now Ten Hag has tried everything, right? And that's why he said the comments that he made. Yeah, I mean, he tried to get a reaction out of the player, but instead the player decided to put out his own statement. And then over the last couple of days and weeks, other media outlets and people have done some digging and found that Jadon Sancho has a history of not turning up for training on time and all this. You have the money that he's on, you expect him to turn up for training on time. It's a basic requirement, you know. So why, you know, and I mean, the manager apparently, you know, set up a schedule so he turn up an hour before everybody else so he wouldn't be late, but still managed to be late. So everybody's saying that the manager has been ruthless here. He has. He sent them away. Right? And this is the second time he sent them away now. Now, I would like to see the club find the player, because I do think we need to make a statement. But he has been sent away, and he's not. The club did make a statement to say that he wouldn't be playing for Manchester United for the foreseeable future until the situation is resolved. But apparently, Jadon Sancho, at the meeting, there was crisis talks apparently, and there was no resolution. And apparently, Jadon Sancho has refused to apologize. So he's still crying after the fact that he's the one that made the mistake. You know, you're on 300 and something grand a week, you are, and you can't show up for training on time. And then we've seen the training clips of you in training, and you're not putting in the effort that other players are putting in training. And then you come out and say you're being scapegoated. You're not being scapegoated. You've scapegoated yourself anyway. Right? You're just lazy. Right? I don't know if you have the mentality to be a top class footballer. Right? Clearly you don't. This is what you're at crossroads now in your career. It's as simple as this. You're at crossroads. You've got two paths, right? The path that you've been on, is to the left of you, and you can continue down that path where you'll go from club to club and you'll never have a decent career. Right? You won't, because you'll be moved on. People see for what you are, lazy, don't put the work in, and you'll be moved on. Or you could take the second path, where you put in the effort, where you want to become that top level footballer, where you want to win trophies at Manchester United, or wherever you go in your career. Right? And that's the second option you have. So while you're away now, right, that's the options you have available to you now while you're away. So you think long and hard what you want to do, right? Because as a Manchester United fan, okay, I'm sorry, but you're not doing it in training. You're turning up late, and then we see on the pitch, and we have seen on the pitch, you've hardly produced in a Manchester United jersey, and now we know why. And fans will get behind you again if you put the effort in and you start performing on the pitch. So you got a choice. You got two paths. Go down the same path you've been going down, or go down this path where you're going to put your head down, put the effort in, and actually prove to the fans that you're worth every single penny that was spent on you. And talking about performances, let's talk about Harry Maguire, the most protected player on the planet right now. Right? I am sick of journalists. Start of all, right? I'm sick of journalists. And by the way, Gareth Southgate, let me just say something to you, mate. Right? You're the England manager, right? And you have a responsibility, right, to pick your best 11. You don't pick your best 11. Okay, you pick favourites. And like some managers, Harry Maguire is a favourite of some managers. Don't know why, right? But this whole thing, he's being unfairly treated. Let's talk about that. Harry Maguire did an interview when he was getting some criticism about his performances and said he didn't need to prove himself to fans. Right? He said he didn't need to prove himself. Right? First of all. Right, then he goes away on holiday and gets involved in some crap. Fair enough. It involved his sister, and I suppose I would have got involved myself. Right? But he's gotten himself into a little bit of trouble as well. Right? So he hasn't helped himself at all. Then when he had been given a chance to put it right on the pitch, he has failed miserably. Right? Now, because of this, he has received criticism across the board. Now, can Manchester United fans go over the top? Absolutely. There's a particular fan channel that I don't actually like, that I think drives a lot of this hate towards our players. But I won't get into that. Right? But players have been criticised before. Fellaini got an awful lot of stick when he joined United and all of that, but he just got on with it, and he tried to let performances on the pitch do the talking rather than coming out against everybody. Right? Harry Maguire's done himself no favours whatsoever, and then to top it all off, his mammy comes out to defend him. Right? This is the cringiest thing I've ever seen. Listen, the bottom line is your son's a shit footballer, right? Your son was with two teams that were relegated, and he got lucky when he was signed to Leicester. And then we were just stupid enough, because our owners haven't got a clue how to actually buy a decent player, went out and bought Harry Maguire, right? Your son is not a good footballer, right? He's not, right? And the only reason why he looks half decent against England, or half decent for England, is because his mistakes are covered up with the players that they have on the pitch, where we don't have those players on the pitch because we got problems all over the pitch. So he's more exposed. But be under no illusion, Harry Maguire's mammy, your son's a shit footballer, right? You said he doesn't deserve the abuse. Your son is an arrogant little sod, right? He's never accepted the criticism from Manchester United fans, right? He's downright made him out to be the best centre-back in the world. in his head and in his mind. And now you are all facilitating him now by patting him on the back. Say, oh, poor son. He's a fucking professional footballer that's making a fucking great deal of money at Manchester United, and he hasn't put in the performances, and then you come out and you defend him. I just feel with Harry Maguire's mother coming out to defend him that the Man United fandom are going to chew him up and eat him alive now. And rightly so. And rightly so. He's a grown fucking man, and his mother has to come out and defend him because he doesn't put the performances out on the pitch and has everybody convinced that he's somehow a fucking victim. A victim of what? Victim of being a shit player? That's all he is. That's all he is. Right? He's never done it in a Man United shirt. Right? Now, I will say this, don't believe Harry Maguire should be getting any sort of threats or anything like that. Right? But when it comes to his football, right, I think people have every right, every Man United fan or England fan has every right to criticise him because of his football. This man goes around with a swagger on him and thinks he's the best fucking centre back in the world. Right? It's as simple as that. He thinks he's the best centre back in the world, and he's not. He said he didn't need to prove anything. You need to prove everything when you put that jersey on every fucking day. Every single day of the week. Every training session. Every time you're out on the pitch. You need to prove yourself. Right? Nobody comes in here or comes to this club and thinks that they've made it. Right? Once you get here, you got to work hard to keep that jersey on your back because someone else will come in and take it off you. The problem that we've had with this club for a very long, long time, unfortunately, is that we haven't had players to replace you. But now we do. Well, when I say now we do, unfortunately, some of the centre-backs we've brought in are injury-prone. But when we do get that right, players are going to have to step up. See, that's your problem, Harry. Right? Just like Jadon Sancho. That's your problem as well. Yous are all comfortable and think that your spots won't be taken. Right? This is not Ollie's reign. Right? You don't get to just get in the team because you're his favourites. Right? You get in the team because you earn it. So, you know, he had an opportunity to go to West Ham. He didn't want to go to West Ham because West Ham were beneath him. Now, that just goes to show me the arrogance that he has. So sorry, Harry's mammy, if I don't feel sorry for your son. Your son is on, I think he's made, it's been calculated, since he's been here, he's made over £60 million, right, in just wages alone. That doesn't include the endorsements that he gets and all of that. Your son has made an awful lot of money for doing very little at this club. Okay? He couldn't even captain the team properly. He may have been captain, but Bruno was the captain. Because he wasn't acting like a captain. Right? He was given everything here at Old Trafford. Right? And even at West Ham, they were going to throw the captaincy at him, which I thought would have been a bad mistake anyway. Why you give him? He's not a leader. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with not having not Harry not being a leader, right? The thing about it is, though, if he performed on the pitch, we wouldn't even be sitting here today having this whole conversation. But he's on a lot of money, just like Jadon Sancho. Just hang on there, and I'll just remove this troll that's popped into the chat there. I've been trying to ignore now, but it's getting a bit much now. So just let me remove. There you go. Now, there we go. Right, so yeah. So as I said, you know, these things wouldn't be happening right now if Harry got his head down. And even the manager at the press conference today, said it. Yeah, while the criticism and the abuse is wrong, you've got to perform on the pitch, right? Um, the way to shut them up is to perform on the pitch. And that's what your son has not been doing, Mrs. Maguire. So I don't think you've done your son any favours by actually coming out and making a statement on his behalf. Because then your son comes out and says that he can handle the criticism. Well, if he can handle the criticism, why is his Mammy jumping to his defence? All right. So, because if Harry can handle it, right, his Mammy wouldn't be coming to his defence because he obviously spoke to his Mammy. Because I know if I went to my mother and I said, listen, I'm having problems, this is what's happening, she'd jump to my defence, right, because I went and spoke to her. So be under no illusion, Harry went crying to his Mammy and then his Mammy put out a statement. So, Jadon Sancho needs to go, whether it be in January or the summer, he needs to be sold. And Harry Maguire needs to also go, preferably in January because he's got his court case in February. And I don't want that clown around this club when that's happening. I want him gone. So hopefully he's gone by January. And all of these other players as well that refuse to leave, listen, just rip up their contracts and throw them out. It's as simple as that. I'm sick and tired of this club being used by players as well to steal a living at this club. Just get rid of them all and have it done. It's as simple as that. Because I'm sick of the way things are done at Manchester United. I mean, we've become a laughing stock now, right? Statement FC is what we're hearing on social media. And it is. It's statement after statement after statement after statement with this bloody club. And I'm absolutely sick and tired of it. So, Erik ten Hag is the manager. And for all you supporters that are calling for him to be sacked because you believe he's treated Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire, or other players harshly, do you know what you can do? You can go and support someone else, all right? Because their manager is not going to take that crap from any of these freeloaders anymore. So, Harry, you want to stop being criticised and getting the abuse you're getting. Start doing it on the pitch. As for you, Jadon Sancho, you've made a lot of money at this club as well, right? And if you want Manchester United fans to treat you with any sort of respect, you want to start putting in the performances like you are doing at Borussia Dortmund. If not, get out of our club, because I heard apparently you're pushing for a move. Well, if that's the case, then you can go. Yes, then you don't have the elite mentality to be a Manchester United player. Because I tell you something now, if that were me, I'd put my head down and prove all the haters wrong, right? But you'll probably take the easy option now and go and exploit some other poor little club or whatever club you go to and exploit them and not put in the work and the effort that you need to do to become a top athlete. Absolutely disgusting the way these players have been going on inside their club. And thanks be to God for a manager like Erik ten Hag that has standards. I don't agree with everything he does on the pitch tactically most of the time. I have to say, I still but I can understand that he's not really going to have his own style of play until he's properly backed. And when I mean properly backed, I don't mean he's being backed financially, but properly backed means getting the players that he wanted, because we know he wanted players like Frankie de Jong and players of that caliber, right? So he's bringing in players to make do, right? And he's trying to play a style of football that suits the team that he has at the moment, not his style of play, because he tried that and it didn't work. So he had to change, and he's capable of changing. But yes, some of these substitutes annoy me. Some of the players that he does play ahead of others do annoy me. But at the end of the day, now we know why Sancho hasn't been getting his game over people like Anthony and so on, or playing where Rashford plays and playing. Now we know why, because Sancho just doesn't do it, and you know it's a sad and this is what Mrs. Maguire and Harry should really be concerned about. It really shows how low the manager rates your son and you, Harry, when he is given a contract to a 37-year-old who was at this club a long time ago. And even that player in Johnny Evans is ahead of you in the pecking order. The reason why the criticism and the abuse has gotten worse, and I'm not justifying the abuse, by the way, abuse on any level is bad. But I can understand it to a certain extent, because we know that contract was there for him and he refused to take it. And that's why this level of hatred and abuse is being aimed towards Harry, because also it's a fact that we knew we had got money for Harry, we would have been able to use that money to go and get another player in. But because he refused to go, and Donny van der Beek, he wasn't just the only one, by the way. There were other players that refused to go as well. We couldn't go then and maybe bring in one or two more players to help bolster the squad. So that's why your son is getting the abuse. He's not putting it out on the pitch. When he had a chance to leave, clean slate, start fresh somewhere new, he decided he was just going to stick around to be an ass about it. Right? The manager would have told him, right? Doesn't matter what managers say publicly. We all know managers behind the scenes, whatever they say publicly is different to what they say behind the scenes. We know that our manager does not rate your son and wants him out of the club. He even said in one of the press conferences, if Harry is not willing to fight for his place, well, then he may as well leave. Right? And this is the thing. When your son comes out with the attitude, well, I've nothing to prove, then United fans are going to see that as, well, he doesn't want to put in the effort. Right? So he can go. Simple as that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is going to continue to develop. But I will say this, guys, the media, as usual, are doing a great number on this. People forget, that Pep Guardiola came out and called one of these players overweight, and Sky Sports and all the journalists out there never made a big deal about it. Make a few comments about Jadon Sancho or Harry Maguire, and it's big news, and it's splashed all over the newspapers. It's absolutely disgraceful. And Jamie Carragher, I see what you wrote about our goalkeeper, Onana, saying, he wasn't only just giving out to Harry Maguire, but fair enough, you got to push a narrative. But let's not forget, Jamie, you're the guy that spit at a young girl after Liverpool lost against Manchester United. So I don't think you should be talking about matters like that when you're a bit of a scummer yourself. So leave it out with your stupid fucking newspaper articles about our goalkeeper, when our goalkeeper has done it at Inter Milan or any other club that he's ever been with. He's a shelf goalkeeper like Peter Schmeichel. If you don't like those type of goalkeepers, I suggest you keep your mouth shut. It's as simple as that. But at the end of the day, you, like everybody else in the media, are pushing this narrative on Harry Maguire and pushing the narrative on other players out there that are either playing for Man United or not playing for Man United. It's absolutely disgraceful. Right? So, as I said, Jamie, you keep your mouth shut about what's going on in our club and you concentrate on your pathetic club. All right? Simple as that. Anyway, I will be back for the Manchester United Brighton game. And that's at 3 o'clock tomorrow, folks. So come and join me for that. I'm sorry about the troll in the chat there, but we have removed them. Unfortunately, they're going to bleed out from the other channels at the moment. So we'll block them all like we've done on all the other channels, and then we'll be okay. Anyway, you know what I mean. You can't do that on here. If you have a different opinion to other people, because you know the little weirdos at home, you know they've nothing better to do but stalk and troll people, you know, because they got sad little lives. So you know, sorry about that anyway. But join me here again, 3 o'clock tomorrow. No, well it won't be 3. We'll probably go live a half an hour before the game, so I can give you the team news. So 2:30 tomorrow. I'll put the stream up later on anyway. 2:30 tomorrow for our game against Brighton, which is not going to be an easy game, folks. The games against Brighton are always tough. Brighton have done really well over the last few seasons, and I do expect them to do well again this season. And Evan Ferguson. I don't like talking about transfer rumour or speculation, but apparently Manchester United are looking at Evan Ferguson and want to bring him in next year. Now, fan channels out there were actually asking about when we brought in Haaland, who else we'd like to bring in. I said, why not bring in Evan Ferguson as well and have the 2 young strikers and rotate them every couple of games, right? Because I do think Evan, because being a Republic of Ireland supporter, because being from Ireland, Evan plays for our national team. And I have been watching Brighton, like a lot of people, because, you know, they're in the ascendancy right now. So we've been keeping an eye on Evan. But Evan is definitely, listen, I'd bring in Evan next year. I definitely bring in Evan next year. If Haaland can prove that he is the striker that he's going to be, and he looks like he could be, and then you bring in Evan Ferguson, we have 2 young strikers, right, that haven't even reached their prime yet, but have potential to be world class. I mean, it'll be absolutely fun. I think we should have went for Evan Ferguson this year. I said it. I said we should have. Now, when we go, Brighton are going to give him a new contract anyway if they haven't gave him one already. And there's going to be there'll probably be a release clause. If there's not a release clause, then he's gonna cost us about 100 million. Now that obviously all depends if the Glazers are well gone by then, because if you're talking about a fee of 100 million for Evan Ferguson, it's not happening, because we will have to try and scrape and try build a team off the scraps that the Glazers give our manager, and that's the bottom line. But anyway, I will be back for the next match, and that's 2:30 tomorrow. So come and join me for that. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a while since I've been on. I've been doing other stuff as well, but I just haven't been. You know, been doing a bit of gaming streams, but you know, it's just one of those things. It's just, I don't know whether it's the weather or the seasons changing, but I just, you know, everybody feels a bit, you know. So anyway, let's hope we're cheering tomorrow, because you know what, with all the shit that we've had now these last couple of weeks, I just hope we come back. We perform well against Brighton and beat them well, and then hopefully then we can push on until the next drama comes, because trust me, the next drama is around the corner. This is Manchester United, of course. Glazers, Manchester United, of course. There is always drama. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, folks. I'll talk to you very soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.